Yo, everybody, this is Dan DeFi. Welcome back. We're just going to get into it. This guy, Adam, we love you, man. Adam Bergman. This dude's just all up in this Algorand H-bar thing still. We made one video, guys, and I was, super chill. And I'm still super chill about this, man. So no hate, all love here, bro. But we're going to talk about some points that you concluded in this other new video. And let's just get into it, guys. We're just going to talk about some points he made and go over this. So, and kind of talk about some of the important things going on here. So, first of all, here's the new Adam Bergman video. It's like 40 minutes long, honestly. So we're just going to talk about a couple of the key points, right? So first he goes on and talks about sharding at about 538, right? So we're just going to fast forward to that. So just so you guys know, he's saying that there's only one person on Twitter, HBAR Twitter, that replied to him, and that's Zepsi HH, about the Algorand HBAR thing and the whole, Versa he's trying to do, the competition, which, like I said in the last video, there really isn't none because Hedera is just way far ahead. I don't know. So, first thing I want to mention, actually, before we get into
increase in the future,
get into everything, is he's talking about
starting to enable unlimited
smart
TPS
contracts,
or
right?
Hedera. The range is shown for transactions.
He's talking about He's talking about sharding and smart contracts. Okay.
A transaction record, but can receive a transaction receipt. What exactly does that mean? That means that the smart contract processing of Hedera is not 10,000 transactions per second.
Right, it's slower.
But that's it. This guy
So we're going to go here where he talks about...
You guys can agree with them or not agree with them. It is what it is. This is a little further in that correspondence. Somebody says, Adam, from a technology perspective, that is that Algo does better. I admit Algo is the best public blockchain, but can't compete with DAGs. It beats Hedera in tokenomics, but I'm struggling to see any other metrics. And then somebody said smart contracts are probably faster on it, but that's it. This guy, who's a Hedera supporter, says Hedera smart contracts.
Okay, so one thing that Adam doesn't point out, and we're just going to talk about this point right now, is that... So basically, if you look at Algorand, guys, and everything, if we look here at this little clip right here, we'll see that Algorand, they run on a Algorand virtual machine, which isn't compatible with many other smart contract platforms, or smart contracts in general. That they're not compatible with Ethereum smart contracts, which are the biggest smart contracts right now. Most projects start out on Ethereum smart contracts, and that's just how things are still kind of going. So Algorand kind of runs on their own, right? And so they haven't had the ability to use EVM, which is the Ethereum smart virtual machines, right? And this all goes down to how smart contracts are made. So smart contracts use these environments, or these Algorand virtual machines, or EVMs, to basically compute. And so what I'm trying to say here is Algorand doesn't even use one that's really compatible with other systems, right? So that's one thing that Algorand does have. Smart contracts, the speed of the transaction for a smart contract for Algorand is the same no matter what transaction. So that's right, but that's because they run on their own and no compatibility right now. If we look at things, Hedera, as you can see here, has EVM, which is they can merge, or they can work with Ethereum smart contracts. So if we look here, I'll just full screen this one. Announces mainnet launch of EVM compatible. So when he's saying the TPS is slow, that's because Hedera is actually processing smart contracts that might be written on other networks. So basically they're interoperable with Ethereum right now, and that makes it available for a lot of different companies to interact with Hedera because of this compatibility. Algorand, I think they're voting on it, but I don't think this is live yet for Algorand. So this is another point that I think that he doesn't clarify that well in this video.
Contracts are running at around 350 TPS depending on the complexity of the function, sometimes higher, sometimes lower. I'll give you 350 TPS. I read on many different Discord and Reddits that it's 250 TPS, but let's say 350 TPS.
Okay, so
based on the complexity of the smart contract. So if you have a super complex smart contract, it's going to be a lot less, which is going to be a problem in the future, in my personal opinion.
Right, but he's not mentioning, again, like I said, he's not mentioning that Algorand uses its own variation of smart contract, that the compatibility isn't there, right?
Algorand doesn't have that problem. We currently do 1,206 transactions, but this is all type of transactions. And in Q3, coming up soon, we're going to be able to do 10,000 transactions per second. I'm not going to use 10,000 right now because we only have 1,206.
Right.
But the 10,000 transactions per second is an upgrade.
And by the time Hedera gets to that point in the future, our EVM compatibility TPS will get higher as well. So that's just a point being made that this isn't all, like, his points are just
percent consensus on Algorand that this is going to happen. So it is definitely happening. But even at 1,206 transactions per second, as of right now, that is more than enough to handle all transactions on Algorand. So the question is, Hedera can handle 10,000 transactions plus to infinity. Algorand is going to be able to handle 10,000 and in the future, 46,000. But Algorand's 46,000 is always going to be all transactions of 46,000, whether smart contract, complex, or not complex, and regular transactions.
We're just going to fast forward to the other interesting parts, guys. He's getting into ABFT, and this is one thing I want to mention that he talks about is security. So he brings up right here, he talks about
that you open yourself up
security
to an attack. The Hedera boys are going to tell you, no, this is not a fact. All you guys got to do is do your own research and Google it. And if you're a true man right now, you're going to be like, you know what? Sharding is not as secure as not sharding.
Okay, so let's just get into exactly what he just said, right? He's basically trying to state a point that he thinks that because Hedera is going to allow sharding in the future, or can shard, that it makes us less secure, and our Byzantine ABFT agreement is going to just disintegrate, right? We're just going to thin off into space, right? Let's look at a point here from Dr. Lehman Baird when they talk about sharding.
Lehman, can you talk a little bit about sharding and how it will work? Will it be totally abstracted away from users of the platform? Will smart contracts have to be written to account for sharded architecture, for example?
It is abstracted.
Did you hear what she said? Will smart contracts have to be written to work with this architecture, right? So, check it out.
So, if I send you some HBARs, or I send you some tokens, my account is 0.0.1000 and yours is 0.0.2000. The way it works is I sign a transaction, I submit it to the network, and the HBARs go to you. That's how it works today. What if you're in a different shard? Well, then your account number won't be 0.0.2000. It might be 1.0.2000 because you're in shard 1. That's your address. Other than that, it's all the same. Now I just have a single transaction that says send from 0.0.1000 to 1.0.2000, and it goes through. So that it is completely transparent. It's just that your account ID says what shard you're in. When you look at the receipt and the record that comes back afterwards, right now what you get is a record that says, yes, it went through. You have lost some HBARs, he has gained some HBARs. Or you've given up some tokens, she's gained some tokens. The record says that. Or it says your transaction failed, nothing changed. In a sharded system, the record ends up looking slightly different. You get one record, you get two records. So the first record says, yes, your side of the transaction went through. So it has been deducted from you. I don't yet know about the other side. So I know it's been deducted from you, but I don't know if the other person has received it yet. Maybe they don't receive it because their account doesn't exist. Or maybe they can't receive it because they have receiver signature required and turned on and they didn't sign it. For whatever reason, it might fail. But you get the first record that says, yep, your half of it succeeded, and then later there will be a second record that says, oh, the second half also succeeded, yay. Or that says the second half failed and what you sent has been refunded to you. So that's really the only difference. The transaction does not change at all. It is completely invisible that you're using sharding, except now your account numbers have a 1 at the beginning, or a 2, or a 3, rather than a 0. And for records, it will be 2 records rather than 1 record. But other than that, it's pretty much the same thing that you have now. Consensus takes more seconds, or for the whole thing to occur, takes more seconds. Finality will still be very fast, though. So I'm looking forward to sharding.
So even with sharding, right? Sharding's not going to affect anything, right? And that's one point that I want to make here. So if we look at another Reddit question about this issue, we're going to see here. They talk about, can someone clear up sharding FUD? I've heard with ETH 2.0, sharding will make HBAR unnecessary. This is about Ethereum, but the whole thing still stands about what he's saying about sharding. HBAR is able to shard indefinitely, theoretical infinite TPS without requiring a leader node, algorithmically leaderless, while still being ABFT. No other DLT can do that. So I'm not really sure on the factual basis of this Reddit user statement, but I'm pretty sure that if we look this up, we're going to find pretty close to factual information. So we know that Hedera planned on sharding even from the beginning, hence the shared worlds. So let's just go to this other mark I have where Adam here is going to talk about a different point here.
As possible. Now, this is not a knock on Hedera. In my personal opinion, I think that Algorand does a great job making sure not to utilize anything that can be a data breach or a security breach. They make sure that there is the least amount of cracks as possible. Now, this is...
Yeah, so Hedera is the most secure DLT in the world. So algorithmically secure ABFT. There's no other better Byzantine fault tolerance agreement than ABFT. So yeah,
it's not a knock on Hedera because most technologies who are not created by Silvio Micali have to rely on sharding to make their transactions per second go up.
So you see what he's saying? We have to. So he's actually acting like sharding. I don't think he fully understands sharding. Right? We've gone over this now, and this point being made is kind of silly.
Hedera cannot fork. Algorand cannot fork.
Yeah, we both can't fork.
Both of them use Byzantine agreements.
Yep.
They use a little bit different types of Byzantine agreements.
Agreed.
But that's okay. They both use them. And that's one of the main reasons why they can't fork. Another reason why Hedera can't fork is because it's patented, the technology.
There's no point there because Hedera's working on becoming open source. And right now they're one of the most distributed networks in the world. If you look at the governing council distribution and how it works, and actually read about there's only like a certain amount of tokens for governance for each, and how they allocate all that. Yeah, this just your whole thing about nodes here is just kind of silly, man.
Hash graph is patented. And it's not an open...
And the patented stuff, like I said, it's becoming open source. Right now it's open review. So that means anybody can take the code and file some information, which I don't think is that big of a deal. So they just know who you are. And you can look at the code, right? If you really want to. So...
System. It is a closed system.
Yeah.
Now it's a variation of a closed system where you can test on it, you can look into it, but the actual coding is closed. So
it's not closed though. Like I just said, you can check it if you want to. You
guys can make your own decision if you rather have a high throughput of...
Alright, so let's just skip to the next point here because I think I'm just jabbering now on some of these. Let's go to...
transactions per second, and it being the absolute most secure way, or you rather have a higher throughput of transactions per second, but that higher throughput of transactions per second...
Okay, so...
are basic transactions without the ability to hold as much smart contract, a specifically complex smart contract type of transactions.
So he's saying right now what the smart contract can actually hold, and how the amount of asset in the smart contract And in the transaction, he's trying to say that he thinks that Algorand can hold that better at a faster speed.
Guys, if I'm wrong, Hedera boys, just let me know in the comments below. In a moment, actions per second, but
Let's just go back and see.
You can look into it, but the actual coding is closed. So you guys can make your own decision if you rather have a high throughput of transactions per second and it being the absolute most secure way, or you rather have a higher throughput of transactions per second, but that higher throughput of transactions per second are basic transactions without the ability to hold as much smart contract.
So that's this point is just like I said, Algorand uses a EVM, right? And Hedera is able to use Ethereum smart contracts, which are interoperable, which means that even on Hedera, I'm pretty sure that you can load pretty large amounts per transaction per smart contract with data-wise. Like the data package, the load of the actual contract can be pretty high. So this point, I think, is just
specifically complex smart contract type of transactions. Guys, if I'm wrong, Hedera boys, just let me know in the comments below.
Yeah, I'm letting you know.
In a moment.
All right, let's just go on to another point he makes. This is at 1436. We're going to check this out. So
friendly. This is not a knock on Hedera. I'm just bringing up a point.
So what is he saying?
Used by Algorand and the amount of power used by Hedera. The actual amount of power is negligible in difference. They are both super energy efficient.
I will agree.
Algorand actually has a smart contract enabled in the fees that's going to buy carbon credit offsets to make it even more environmentally friendly. This is not a knock on Hedera. I'm just bringing up a point.
This is not a knock on Hedera. I'm just bringing up a point. So if we just type in Hedera, carbon, we'll just do that. Going carbon negative at Hedera, carbon offsets. You can see has adopted sustainability too. They bought offsets every time. They have a status page. You can go and see the status. Blah blah blah. They talk about the carbon offsets, and they use this system called TerraPass, and that's how they work within the carbon offset system and buy the credits. So they are actually doing the same thing. I think he's trying to make a point that it's built in. But, I mean, Hedera's got a lot of things with carbon offsets. They got tokenized data economy for DeFi carbon offsetting. It's called Dovu. It's built on Hedera. There's a lot of things going on with Hedera and sustainability. So I don't even think that that's a point because, there's just a lot of different points. Avery Dennison is working on carbon stuff with Hedera. Here, look at this carbon. Avery Dennison will do Hedera carbon. Connected product to utilize the Hedera network to account for carbon emissions of billions of unique items. And this is just on one of the partners of Hedera's businesses and such. So, I mean, come on, man.
For Algorand.
Not big deal.
I'm going to go tear this report up in a moment.
All right, we don't care about you tearing the report up.
Just keep in mind, the actual numbers that stated, I want you guys to hear what Silvio McCallie said in his lecture, where he specifically brings up proof of stake based systems with per transaction.
Yeah, he just goes on and trying to talk about
transactions on public ledgers, the systems and permission.
He goes into the whole report about the UCL.
And if you don't, that's okay, because I'm not trying to prove my case to one person or another.
That researchers
I'm just
actually
making my case, and everybody can make their own decision. So in terms of energy use, the only thing I can go by consecutive.
He's all just, this whole point he just made is all just about energy use.
Hedera's fees are fixed in USD, paid in HBAR. Algorand's fees...
Right here, he admits that he's right.
It is also one of the major reasons why Hedera's
better right here.
Expenditures can be accurately forecasted. Okay, he's right.
See?
I'm not going to lie about that.
He's right. So we're right about that. Another point that Hedera is correct.
0.001 fee of Algorand. So we don't actually have a gas fee, we just have words enterprise. And one of the reasons why enterprise is because it's built by the council members for council member use. and my personal opinion.
Do you see what he's saying here? The council members, yeah, it's built for them to help with enterprise adoption and to get more businesses out there and to spread the word. Do you think that retail investing and retail stuff is going to come without enterprise back-end use? Come on, man.
But this leaves me to a question. How does Hedera come up with staking? And the current answer is
yeah,
Hedera,
we use a third-party staker labs.
We know it. Does not have is most certain. That's insane, and it's not sustainable for staking. All you want, but
Hedera's going to build on staking. We know that's one thing that's coming.
They're going to give you a really interesting thing. The actual latency is speed. Algorand's finality is actually better than Hedera's finality. 222 compatible, as far as I understand. Algorand is only.
We're still finding the final in like seconds, dude. I don't.
Client, the same way Hedera.
That's goof.
Hedera
That's goof.
In which ISO 222 compliant applications can be built. It can enable this complexity. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going to take away that claim because I read more articles about it, and I do believe that Hedera is ISO 222 compliant.
Oh, another point that I made in my last video,
and just like
that it can be enabled on Hedera.
ISO 222 compatibility on top of it. So I 100% agree.
See, Hedera's like got
and then
all these points, bro.
He brings up a bunch of different things, a lot of banking, sovereign ID. To talk about the founder, I says that the founder, Leon Baird, is not as accomplished as Silvio McCallie.
I don't know if that's correct, bro.
I stick by that. He says that he was the computer scientist for the United States Air Force. In my last video, I showed you how accomplished Silvio McCallie was.
We don't even care. The founder and the accomplishments of the founder doesn't make how good of a product they made or how good of an algorithm they made, right? We're talking about, this is just goof, bro. Hedera's clearly ahead in everything. And I'm just making a point here that, I mean, seriously, it's like every point you made either could be misconstrued about how you stated it or skewed a little bit for the idealistics of Algorand. We understand the stuff with the smart contracts now and that, you know, they're using a different virtual machine to, you know, process these things, and that Hedera has their own, right? Their own smart contract, and then they have EVM compatibility. So we have two products in that, and then we have HCS and HTS that are open products and open services to use, and you know, the Hedera's just got a lot more going on with building interoperability between networks. Like look at Hashport and some other products that are coming out. And I think that I still, you know, Hedera is the future, guys. And I just want to do this video for fun. Like I said, there's no hate in this video. This is all love. But I just want to make the point about a couple of things you didn't bring up about, you know, the virtual machines and how that all works. And I know that this could probably go back and forth all day. You know, this is kind of more of a fun thing to educate people about the differences of these systems, and it's always great talks. So hey, thanks guys for checking out this video. Thanks Adam for posting more content about this. It's great to get the word out there. And yeah, Dan DeFi out. I'll talk to you guys soon.